Disney has not been having a great year. That's not really breaking news at this point. We've seen all the box office failures, we've heard all the contradictions and lies they keep peddling in some attempt to save face, and we all know what's really going on. This is a company that has given up on the idea of good storytelling and chose to focus on pushing their beliefs onto the public, and just look at how badly that's backfired. Disney went from having multiple billion-dollar movies in 2019 to losing $750 million this year. But hey, Bob Iger's here to reassure everyone that Disney's demise has been greatly exaggerated. And shockingly, everyone's response has pretty much been,
"Go yourself." Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob.
It really is hilarious how much guys like Bob Iger hate Elon Musk. He pretty much stands for everything they're against. Not to mention the fact that he's exponentially more intelligent than them definitely pisses them off. This is a guy who actually did something to earn his wealth, unlike these other posers who just ride off the success of others and ultimately ruin what used to be successful brands. I love how Elon said that on the same panel Iger was just on. You know Iger was either backstage or in his limo watching and had a temper tantrum. Nothing worse for a guy like Iger than someone who straight up says they're just gonna sit back and watch you destroy yourself when your whole plan was to, as Elon put it, blackmail them into obedience.
Everything is falling apart.
I'm not even sure what made Iger think Elon would get in line, because the last few years have shown he's not that kind of guy. In fairness, we are talking about Bob Iger here, the same guy who thinks it matters more what he considers politics are than what the paying customer thinks. The ego this man has to still think it matters what he believes is hilarious. How many billions of dollars does his company have to lose before he actually sits back and thinks, maybe it's worth listening to the millions of people who used to buy tickets to my movies and haven't spent a dime on my products in years.
You have a brain injury.
His whole interview was like trying to cover 30 bullet wounds with some sticky notes. He just went on and on about the same BS he's been spouting for years and expected people to buy it this time. Oh, the latest Marvel movie bombed? Well, even though everything's open and there's no more restrictions, let's just blame it on the pandemic. Yeah, see, we greenlit spending $300 million on a movie, and it's believable that we decided it didn't need any supervision. Why hire someone you think needs supervision? Why not just delay the movie again? Why didn't anyone read this script, which can easily be done remotely, and realize how bad it was? Well, you're a sexist, misogynistic racist, that's why, so no more questions.
Don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for next product.
The fact that he still thinks that's a viable excuse is pathetic. Barbie, Oppenheimer, and the Mario movie all took off at the box office, so that nonsense pandemic excuse holds zero water these days. This guy just loves to talk about the post-pandemic changes, as if that somehow justifies his agenda-focused movies losing hundreds of millions at the box office. Hey Bob, wake up and smell the coffee, you moron. No one's buying your lies anymore. The general audience is onto your grift, and they're done spending money on your movies. There's a reason you're desperate enough to defile the corpses of franchises like Toy Story that should have been left alone years ago, and it's not because your BS strategies are working.
Stop it. Get some help.
He went on like that for about 40 agonizing minutes, and he basically said absolutely nothing useful or new, just a bunch of excuses and squirming, while he tried to shift the blame onto Chapek because God forbid he has to endure the consequences of his own actions. And this amazing performance came after he held a supposed town hall to speak to Disney employees, and answered zero questions from those employees. Why not just send out an email, you might ask? But then he wouldn't get to stroke his ego in some vain attempt to pretend like he's Disney's savior, when all this is happening because of the crap he put into place years ago.
This is all about me. Me.
It's hard to imagine a situation where any of the things he claims to be implementing or changing actually come true, because why believe him this time? Every interview, it's the same story with this guy. If he couldn't do it a year ago, he won't do it today. Personally, I would prefer to be a company's savior than the guy who wrecked it, but hey, that's just the opinion of a regular human being using his brain, which is the one thing we know weirdos like him refuse to do.
Special Officer Dookie reporting.
One part of the interview that pretty much sums up how dumb he is and how stupid he thinks the audience is was when he said that for any other movie to hit 500 million, it would be a huge success, but for Disney, it's a failure, which he claims is interesting, implying that Disney is being treated unfairly. He just wants to pretend like we don't know they drop hundreds of millions on these movies and how much they have to make in order to break even. Here's a shocker, Bob. Spending $300 million on a movie that loses $300 million isn't something that qualifies as a success for any studio. Come on now, Bobby. You gotta come up with a better load of crap than that.
That is so deeply pathetic.
Elon Musk's comment pretty much sums up everyone's opinion when it comes to Disney and their promises. Just when you think things might change, an interview like this happens and you see how the people in charge really feel about the paying customer. They don't give a damn about them. Bobby just loves to come up with new excuses, and when he can't, he just goes back to Old Faithful, aka the pandemic. I'm sure the next time he opens his mouth things will get better. I mean, it's not like things are getting worse every day, right?